Another concept that I love so much about this model is the science of resilience and this word neuroplasticity that really helps us understand our brain's capacity to learn and grow based on the more we practice something, the better we can get at it. So if you think about the first time you started to play a sport or learn to read or be able to play an instrument or learn a language, it took some practice at first, right? It took some time to practice and do it, but then it starts to become more automatic. And neuroplasticity teaches us that we have the ability to change and rewire our brains so that we can learn these skills. The more we practice them, the more automatic or regular they'll become part of our routine. And we also love to teach about the three networks of the brain, which we know that the brain is a very highly complex system, but we teach the three networks to help us understand what's kind of happening in our experience. So I like to start with the survival network, which is where our breathing, our digestion, our circulation, all the things that we don't have to think about without having to coordinate or think about happen. For example, if we had to tell our heart to beat, and if I was talking right now, that would be a problem, right? That would not be okay. But our bodies just do these things automatically without us having to think about it. And this is also where our fight, flight, freeze response, those survival responses that when we're in danger, our bodies react without us having to think about it unconsciously to help keep us alive, hence the survival network or this instinctual part of the brain. And what's important to know here is that it only responds to sensation. So for example, has anyone ever tried to tell you to calm down? Did it work? No, because it responds to sensations, not words. And that's why these skills are particularly important. Next, we have the limbic area, which is the emotional part of the brain. This is where our emotions are housed, our feelings, and the way that we assess risk. This is where our amygdala is, which is constantly looking for risk or threat to keep us alive. So sometimes we may feel very emotional and that all we can experience is that sadness or anger or frustration, and that is this part of the brain being highly activated. And we also have the thinking network or the cortex, which really connects and integrates all three parts of the brain. It's where our beliefs, our language, our thoughts, our speech are all integrated in this part of the brain. And as the age that you're at, yours is still developing. So knowing that this is where decisions are made, it's really, really, really important that we have tools to help calm down or soothe or settle the survival part of the network so that we can make those better decisions, that we're not just reacting out of survival or our emotional brain, and so that we can really be able to develop and think clearly and make those decisions that are for our best interest and for our future. We love to teach about the autonomic nervous system as well. So when you see this slide, you can notice that there's two parts. There's this sympathetic or the gas pedal, which prepares us for action. And there's the parasympathetic, which prepares us for rest, which is like the brake of the nervous system. We are, during times of stress, that sympathetic part of the nervous system, that gas pedal is on high. It is when our breathing rate increases, our heart rate increases, we start to sweat, increase in our heat in our bodies, and our digestion goes offline, because if I need to escape a threat, I don't need to digest my food. That parasympathetic is when the breathing rate slows down, the heart rate slows down, or we're able to feel that kind of more relaxed muscles, we're not as tense. And this is our bodies preparing for rest once that threat has gone. Now, I can digest that food. My mouth might feel a little bit wetter because it is able to digest that food. And what's important is that sometimes when we're bumped high out of our zone, we get stuck in that sympathetic state, that action state. And even though we may not look like it on the outside, our bodies can be experiencing this intense sympathetic response internally, or conversely, it can be so overwhelmed that it is struggling to regulate this automatic system of the nervous system. And why this is important is because the CRIM skills help us to turn on the parasympathetic part of the nervous system. It allows us to feel that rest and digest, to find some relief in not being in such a constant state, or to be able to figure out how to re-engage this automatic ebb and flow of our nervous system. And I will see you in the next video.